I choose to remember Sarge by his smile, his leadership, and all-around unselfishness.
His passion for making this community that he had grown up in a better place, and his leadership qualities were obvious from the beginning.
Thank you, Sergeant Nix, for your service, for your sacrifice, and the indelible mark you've left on our hearts. Rest in peace, brother. He will never be forgotten.
Sergeant Philip Dale Nix, end of watch, December 30th, 2023. He was a husband, a father, a son, and a brother, a hero that put others before himself.
And he was off duty when he was shot and killed outside a gas station in Colfax after approaching a group accused of stealing cases of beer from inside. And today, family, friends, and community members all gathered for a final goodbye, and our team has you covered tonight. We begin with Kenny Beck. Kenny, inside that church today was a sea of blue and also a sea of love.
There sure was. Sergeant Nix was described today as quite literally the definition of what it means to be a cop in America. That was among the accolades and superlatives bestowed upon him today, and we heard just a couple of hours ago the first public statement from the Nix family. They posted this to social media, quote, "On behalf of our entire family, we want to express our gratitude for all the love, support, and heartfelt gestures in honor of Dale. Thank you for sharing your memories of him and for honoring his legacy of service to this community in such meaningful ways. We thank the community again and ask for continued prayers." Signed, the Nix family. It has been a long day. It has been a draining day. It has been an emotional and powerful day. It started with the procession around 11:30 or so, leaving from Haynes Lineberry Funeral Home. A number of thin blue line flags lining the route from Westgate City Boulevard to 73 over to Westover Church, where I am tonight, less than 10 miles away on Muirs Chapel Road in Greensboro. Of course, the family of Sergeant Nix, the very first ones to be inside the church, met by a line of men and women in uniform on either side, and from there Sergeant Nix's casket was taken from the hearse, added to the caisson. Everyone stood completely still. It was a powerful moment. It resonated through TV. I cannot even describe what it was like being just a few feet away as that passed by us here on Muirs Chapel Road. But that was the start of the funeral, and from there, plenty of memorable moments inside as well, and a lot of tears shed additionally. Joshua Davis continues our team coverage now tonight at 6 o'clock. Joshua, this was a service that lasted for about 90 minutes, and at least for me watching it, it felt like it was about 10 minutes long. That's how powerful it was. That's how captivating the speakers were.
That's right, Kenny. The speakers were captivating, and thousands of people were gathered here today in Westover Church to hear from them. Many of them from here in the community, but also law enforcement from across the country all gathered together to hear about Sergeant Dale Nix and honor his life and legacy. Sonia Desai and Katherine Johnson of the Family Justice Center recalled how they first met Nix, their friendship, his love for his colleagues at the center, and his commitment to their work with victims. Desai said his mission, quote, was to do good in the world. Members of the Greensboro Police Family Victims Unit spoke about the sergeant's effect on others, how he brought out the best parts of the officers he worked with, and how he encouraged them in developing relationships with the victims of the crimes they responded to. For many of them, Nix was a mentor, a father figure, and a friend. Person after person after person who spoke recounted how Sergeant Nix was someone devoted to rooting out evil and is a hero gone too soon.
He was someone who brought light and laughter into the lives of those he knew. His kindness, warmth, and genuine care for others were among the hallmarks of his character. The hallmarks of a legacy that will endure in the memories that we share, the stories we tell, and the lessons he taught us through his commitment to service.
I wish you were standing where I am standing right now. I see a sea of blue. I see a sea of love. I see love, so much love. It is a glorious sight up here. Let me be clear, it is now all of us against the world.
And amid those moments of grief and sadness, there were also moments of laughter, focusing on Nick's extraordinary character. Police Chief Thompson said the reason Sergeant Nix chose to become a police officer was because firefighters need heroes too, referencing his family's long ties to law enforcement and firefighting. In Greensboro, I'm Joshua Davis for WXII 12 News. For now, back to you, Kenny.
That was certainly a moment that drew quite a few laughs. Joshua, many thanks. Let's continue our team coverage now. Maria DeBone had the opportunity to speak with Governor Roy Cooper, who was one of the few non-law enforcement dignitaries in attendance today. Maria, what did you hear from the governor?
Well, Governor Cooper said he spoke with Sergeant Nix's wife and family, and through that he said it was evident the love that he had for them and the love they have for him. Now, Cooper says as their family grieves, he's been asked how people can support them. He says to thank not only his wife, son, and family, but when you see a member of law enforcement from any agency, to thank them for all they do. Cooper says he actually got to meet Sergeant Nix before at the Family Justice Center and see the work he was doing there. He said today you really heard about all the good he did with that center and the impact he made.
He came and helped people at some of the worst times of their lives who had been victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, crime. He was there for them, and it was a real passion for him, and we got to see that firsthand today.
And Cooper said continuing that work will just continue to honor Sergeant Nix's life. In Greensboro, Maria DeBone, WXII 12 News.
An advocate for some of the most vulnerable in our community. Maria, thank you very much. Now, I had the opportunity to speak with a man by the name of Casey Gwynn. He is the president of Alliance of Hope International, which is essentially the umbrella agency that oversees the Family Justice Center, which Sergeant Nix worked so closely with as part of his duties with the Family Victims Unit within the Greensboro PD. And Casey Gwynn told me that he's someone who has known Sergeant Nix for a long, long time, had an extraordinary amount of respect for him, and Sergeant Nix really had a following outside of the city of Greensboro proper. He was known throughout the country for his advocacy and his work and helping to start up and continue this program.
When he's talking to you, you're the only person in the world. Like, he is there. He sees you. He understands you. He's paying attention to you. He respects you. To me, that was Dale Nix to the core. He was somebody that when he was present with you, you knew it, and you knew that you were not below him. He was not above you. You were equals. He would treat you as an equal, and it didn't matter who you were. To me, that's the character that Dale Nix carried with him through his life. Dale ends up dying in a situation where, quite frankly, there should have been intervention with those folks long before he had to sacrifice his life over a case of beer. So for me, it's a mixture of sadness and anger and frustration. But I feel like the calling that we have in this is to make sure that Dale Nix's life matters. Matters not just while he was alive, but it matters now that he's dead, because I think we can take his spirit forward.
Casey Gwynn expressing sentiments and feelings that many, many people felt here today in the city of Greensboro. Now, obviously, in the 12 days since Sergeant Nix was shot and killed, a number of community organizations and just regular people have been asking what can they do to help. We've seen various businesses say, we'll do this fundraiser, we'll do this, we'll help there. We heard of another organization stepping up to the plate to help today, the Greensboro Grasshoppers. That was an organization very close and very fond of Sergeant Nix, and the feeling was absolutely mutual. Lindsay Klein shares this story tonight.
There's a growing memorial inside the Greensboro Police Department for Sergeant Philip Dale Nix. There are flowers and photos and all kinds of things to remember him. And as memorials like this one grow, so does the outpouring of support from the community. Sergeant Nix was an off-duty officer for the Greensboro Grasshoppers, and he played a vital role in protecting patrons out at the ballpark. And now the organization is giving back to his family for all of those years that he served and protected for them.
It won't be forgotten here, that's for sure.
A man remembered for his smile.
Well, always it's the smile.
Sergeant Philip Dale Nix is leaving a lasting impact on the Greensboro community and beyond.
If there's one person that you know that you wouldn't hear anything negative about, it's Sergeant Nix.
Sergeant Nix served as the Greensboro Grasshoppers off-duty officer at the ballpark for several years, and according to the organization's general manager, had a way about him.
Really just his demeanor. And watching him diffuse situations and how he handled himself and just around people, you could just how he knew how to, manage situations. And
he was a man who gave so much of himself to the Greensboro Grasshoppers, and now the organization is giving back to those who meant most to him.
He's just a fantastic person. We loved having him here, and it's just a terrible tragedy that this happened.
These game-worn jerseys are being sold for $50 each, with proceeds benefiting the family of Sergeant Nix. So far, 130 jerseys have been sold, raising around $6,800.
Every penny will go directly to Sergeant Nix's family.
A way to give back to not only a man who helped keep the ballpark safe all of these years, but above that, to a friend of nearly 2 decades.
19, 20 years. I've known him, and again, it's terrible to think about. He was such a wonderful person, and would be greatly missed.
And if you'd like to purchase a jersey to support the Nix family, you can do so Monday through Friday at the store at the ballpark from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In Greensboro, Lindsay Klein, WXII 12 News.
And if you are curious, there are many, many ways in which you can still support Sergeant Nix's family. Operation Fly Your Flag is hosting a memorial ride and fundraiser this weekend. It's on Sunday, set to begin at the Greensboro Coliseum. Registration begins at 8 a.m. The ride will start at 10:42. You need to buy a memorial sticker in order to participate. Those are $20 a piece. You can pre-order them or get them on the day of. All proceeds from those stickers benefit the Nix family. And how about this? That online fundraiser that we've been tracking since the very beginning, set up by the Greensboro Police Officers Association, reached 6 figures earlier today. More than $100,000 raised in less than 2 weeks. You can find more information about how to donate to that on the WXII 12 News mobile app and at WXII12.com. And if you're still looking for a small way to do something, to help, to make a difference, do what Governor Cooper suggested today. If you see a police officer or an emergency responder or someone like that out in the community, just say thanks. We see you and we appreciate you. Live in Greensboro tonight, Kenny Beck, WXII 12 News.
It's just so obvious to see the connections this man really had, from the stories to that fundraiser. Priceless.
Yeah, they loved him because they knew he cared.
Yeah, absolutely, genuinely cared at that. Our coverage of the funeral for Sergeant Nix will continue tonight at 10 o'clock on the Triad CW, and then again at 11 right here on WXII 12.
And if you missed today's funeral service, you can watch it in full on the WXII 12 News Facebook page. We'll be right back.
Right now, gone but not forgotten, held captive in Gaza for 100 days now. We're in Israel as families make their voices heard. Also, more schools seeing kids experiencing homelessness, the challenges, and how one big city is dealing with it on Nightly News.
The WXII 12 Stock Report is presented by SECU.
Well, we're getting ready for some wet weather here in the Triad.
Yeah, right now it's the calm between 2 storms. We had that severe weather earlier this week, and then Friday, more chances.
Michelle Kennedy is here to tell us whether this is going to be short-lived or whether it's going to drag into the weekend.
Yeah, we're talking about those big events tomorrow developing. You've got the cold air to the north. This is a second powerful storm this week. It is a little bit different. It does develop for the afternoon and evening hours. You can see it here coming in from the south and west. All of that rain along with some temperatures in the 60s followed by a second front. That front comes in as we go into Saturday and it cools us off. It brings in the wind for us. So lots of energy with the system, but not as much moisture. So that's the good news. We still have a risk for severe, though, late tomorrow. Right now at 52 in Burlington, 49 in Greensboro, and wind speeds out there moving in from the north and now eventually tomorrow out of the south, and they will pick up through the afternoon. So it becomes a bit gustier. Highs, though, today did really well after such a messy weather system as we've had earlier in the week. We've enjoyed upper 50s, good sunshine for you today. And now we look ahead as we go into your Friday, starting out with some sunshine too. Now temperatures may be in the mid and upper 50s for some. Others are going to be rather cold. We've got you in those 40s at best, it looks like, for the mountains, as we do expect windy conditions to pick up, rain for you, and flood concerns along with wind advisories. You've also got that risk area for the foothills developing through the afternoon, but it's going to be after 2 o'clock, it looks like, for most of us before those thunderstorms arrive. Now, timing may change, and this is why you want to check in with meteorologist Brian Slocum early tomorrow morning as well. And you've got those thunderstorm possibilities with rain chances building through the afternoon. Piedmont Triad, your impact hours continue to rise through the day, and we also have stormy conditions with isolated severe threats. Those severe threats build through the afternoon, as you can see on our hour-by-hour forecast. Temperatures in the 50s, 40s for some until we see that warm front swing north and that cold front kind of catching up with us rather quickly. You'll see these pockets of heavy rain, wind concerns developing, so we could see some more sporadic power outages and some small trees taking things down. We've also got temperatures in the 50s with gusts anywhere from 25 to 30 miles an hour out there, and increasing those winds in the mountains to 55. That's where your wind advisory is. And so about 7, 8 o'clock on your Friday night, ramping up that effort for isolated severe storms in the Eastern Triad. This might include some damaging wind gusts and also isolated tornadoes. Now, not everyone will see the severe weather, but it's more likely from areas like Lexington, Asheboro, Greensboro, heading out through Reedsville at this point as we begin to see that warm front swing in. And a couple of lines may form for us. Now, by 10 o'clock, most of us should already start to be drying out. The Eastern Triad could see 1 or 2 thunderstorms lingering. Now, if the timing changes, it could slow it down a bit, but typically these storms will come in a little bit faster for us. So if anything, I'd expect that for you tomorrow. Thursday, or Friday night rather, into your Saturday morning, we're talking about that cold wind developing, so wind chill values will begin to drop. 2 to 4, heavy rain at times, and then 4 to 7, severe thunderstorms building with that risk area intensifying for the Triad between 7 to about 10 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm threats, as you know, are at least over most of the southeast. We've also got that slight risk area for Winston-Salem on those eastern edges around the Forsyth County area, Lexington, High Point, Greensboro, and that risk area is going to continue point south through Troy and Southern Pines. So Friday, severe thunderstorm threats, also isolated tornadoes possible, where we might get a couple of these supercells going through the afternoon. And heavy rain threats along with those winds. We've got gusts of 55 miles an hour and in the mountains and the northern Piedmont. Plus, we still have some ongoing floodwaters that are trying to recede from the Yadkin and the Dan. We also have the flood watches from noon until 6 a.m. Saturday, anticipating 1/2 inch to 2 inch totals. And again, some of that upslope moisture along the mountains can enhance those rain chances. Next 2 days, you look at this, we've got temperatures that are much colder on Saturday in the mountains as well as the Triad and foothills. But tomorrow, it's an afternoon event and hopefully not quite as bad as it was on Tuesday. It does look like we'll get more rounds of rain, so we'll watch for localized flooding concerns. Definitely a cool down coming next week. Look at this. You've got temperatures from the upper 40s this weekend and chilly winds down into the 30s, some of the coldest air we've seen so far this season.
All right, checking traffic, a live look outside. Salem Parkway at Highway 66 in Kernersville, Salem Parkway east and west in the green tonight.
You're watching WXII 12. And now, the Modern Automotive Sports Report.
If the news of Nick Saban retiring was the biggest news in college football, Thursday's news out of New England is most certainly the biggest news in the NFL. The Patriots and 8-time Super Bowl champion Bill Belichick have agreed to part ways. Now, 6 of those 8 Super Bowl titles coming as head coach of the Patriots. In 24 seasons, Belichick presided over one of the greatest runs in NFL history. His 333 career victories rank second all-time in NFL history.
There's so many fond memories and thoughts that I think about the Patriots, and I'll always be a Patriot. I look forward to coming back here, but at this time, we're gonna move on, and I look forward, excited for the future.
Despite his time ending in New England, reports seem to indicate that Belichick would still like to coach someplace next year. In need of some good news, Panthers fans, start planning your trips to Europe. Carolina has been designated to play in Munich, Germany next NFL football season. The date and the opponent will be announced at a later time. Now, Carolina most recently played in Frankfurt, Germany in 2022. With Belichick's good friend Nick Saban retiring, the eyes of the college football world are focused on Alabama's coaching search. Now, early Thursday, Oregon's coach Dan Lanning confirmed he plans to stay with the Ducks. However, an ACC coach has emerged as a top target. Florida State's Mike Norvell has become one of the betting favorites for the head job with the Crimson Tide. Now, the Noles head coach was named the winner of the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year award just yesterday. Former Wake Forest wideout Jamal Banks is transferring to Nebraska. The move comes just a month after the former Deke entered the transfer portal. Now, Banks recorded 59 catches and 4 touchdowns for Wake Forest last season. It may not have been the prettiest win on the season, but it was a statement game nonetheless for North Carolina. Winning on the road is not easy in college basketball, as seen this week as several top 10 teams falling on the road. But so far this year, the Heels remain unbeaten. Now, Wednesday's victory over rival NC State was another signature victory for Carolina as they took another team's best shot and came out on top once again. A little kids' day at the Joel. Wake Forest and Syracuse. Reagan Conley giving the fans something to cheer about as she drills the three. Wake coming in a Thursday looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Kaya Harrison left alone from behind the arc. Give her all 3 of those. Harrison with 7 points on the evening, but the Orange proved to be just a little too much as they shoot 54% from the field as the Deacs fall 77-56 the final. That is your look at sports. We'll be right back after this.
And we're taking a look out there for tomorrow. We have a risk for severe thunderstorms. That's a slight risk, or level 2 for folks like Lexington and Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, Burlington, and Asheboro. Back to the west, a marginal risk of level 1 for the foothills. You might be in the 40s more of the day, but still a developing severe thunderstorm risk after we get you through 4 o'clock. But rain could still be heavy at times before then, impacting folks in the mountains with flooding concerns. And then severe thunderstorms ramping up between 7 to 10 o'clock. And that's where we could see some isolated tornadoes possible, and also some damaging wind gusts. And we're looking at that wind alert. That'll go into effect for the mountains tomorrow morning through the evening hours, and for Friday through early Saturday morning. We're talking about a ½ an inch to about 2 inches possible, and that could create more flooding on the roadways, if not just along the rivers too. We'll keep you posted on that. Cold and windy though this weekend.
Tomorrow will be the day to watch.
Yes.
Michelle, thank you. And that's it for the news at 6 o'clock.
Thanks for watching, everyone. NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt is coming up next.
Good night.